Hi, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about astrology and depression in an astrology chart, and that's something that you can notice as well. A little bit of analyzing, maybe you can reflect on your chart if that's something that is going to be either helpful or not. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So stay tuned for that. If you don't know who I am, I'm Sindy V King. I'm a creator of Calling My King. I help transform a woman to create lasting love through Vedic astrology, neuroscience, and transactional analysis so that she becomes the queen of love. And here specifically, we're going to be talking about depressions and chart. And here's a few things that you can look. The more points that you have, so you can tick 1 point and you can tell if this is the more that you have, you're more likely to fall into depression and sadness, and it comes with everything else as well. And so I'm not going to include any science in this for many reasons, because I just want to stick with astrology. So it doesn't matter if you're in Vedic or tropical or sidereal, whatever it is. You can just pull up your chart, and if you want to look at it, great. Or if you're a family member as well, that is an option as well. So the first thing that you're going to do is right away, you're going to look at your ascendant. If there's any malefic is there, that is a good possibility that you could be in pain because of the malefic, or that's how your mindset works, is because the first house is your head in general, but also your physical well-being. So obviously if you have a negative planets there or malefics in there, so like Saturn, Mars, or even Rahu or Ketu. You can go to even as extents of Neptune, Uranus, Pluto as well, especially Pluto. Mars is there. That is considered to be fickle-minded or even pulls you down, especially Saturn kind of makes you gaze downwards, and that is something that you want to either talk to your professional doctor to see if there is some helping support, or especially anxieties and stuff like that will show up as well. The next thing I really like to look at is Mercury. Mercury is about like how to put it all together, right? That's like the thinking component. Is your mind, is that thinking component, is it more logical? Is it steady? I find, is it more fiery? So you can either be very combative, right, in that sense. So if the Mercury is not in a healthy state, maybe you think differently. So your communication style is a little bit harder for other people to understand or convey as well. Mercury represent communication, not only the line of thoughts that you have, but it's also how you speak and how you express certain things that you feel. There's many ways that you can help this. Obviously, you can tell if there is a speech issue, and that is going to come along with communication. You can go to a speech therapist, and they can help you along down the line, giving you a solution how to work around it or which part of the brain is being affected. I can't stress enough, long enough, when your Mercury is not in a healthy position, you're going to struggle with communicating with other people, especially in your romantic relationship. If they can't understand what you're trying to say to them, it's going to irritate you. Then we're going to look at the moon. The moon is about emotional comfort, how you like to be nurtured. And if you're in a negative or raised in a negative environment, that is comfortable for you. Maybe being peaceful is not comfortable for you. The moon has to do with our comfort. The moon does not have any enemy. It just doesn't like to be in Scorpio houses and stuff like that. That would affect that. So any afflicting houses, especially the third house, again, that's communication. The second house, that's how you speak and how you sound. Your 8th house is your deep thought. The 12th house, your unconscious thinking and what is going on in that area. as well. I do kind of associate the sixth house quite a bit. That's your habit, what kind of things that you are feeding yourself as well. And your fourth house is how do you feel comfort? How do you self-soothe yourself, especially in those environment. I can just keep going on and on with all these houses, but I'm jumping a little bit around about it just because it gives you perspective of like where you want to go with this. Okay, when the Mars is in an unhealthy placement, it's debilitated, or it's just not, there's no helping friends when it comes to Mars. Mars is a celibate, okay? So he's not a bonding planet at all. But what I want to stress about Mars, if it's a healthy Mars, it's logic, it could actually help them to go get support, go and take action, go get help, do whatever it needs to take in an ethical way to go get support. Mars is our action. That is so healthy and that's so important, especially when it comes to depression. Because most of the time when people are depressed and where they want to actually hurt themselves, it's because their Mars is unable to go and get support or unable to take action to protect themselves. So that is one way as well. I have noticed as well, time and again, dual signs. So what are the dual sign? Anything with either a scale or if there's two things or a fish or anything dual sign tends to make people confused and unable to actually stand either the left side or the right side, the left side or the right side. That is a continued tug of war. It's going to be a tug of war. It's going to be the push away, pull away, push away, pull away. And I know that that's part of life in general. It's more confusing for dual sign than ever how to manage these depression especially. So I think dual sign works better if there is some sort of structure or solution when they get into this state especially. That is important, and those are the key information that needs to happen as well. I think right now when we put it all together, I think Neptune is what we need to make sure that is not being dissolved. I find that Neptune, it makes things a little bit more challenging and makes things, you know, you're being in a fog and it's, you can't lift that fog. Have you ever heard somebody, I can't lift that fog, I can't see it, right? That is Neptune is really destroying that in you. The key point here I really want to specifically talk about today is getting support. Even if you see this in your chart, I want you to go get professional help. There's a reason why you're in this depressive state, and it's actually in a way not a bad thing if you're depressed that prevent you not from hurting yourself. It's when you get better, that's when you start hurting yourself physical being. That I have noticed, and you know, I've done my university years and stuff, but that's not the topic. The point is you see it, you recognize it, that's what it's going to do. Same thing with Rahu. Rahu makes things bigger and expansive, so anything in that state, it expands it, okay? So it can make things even worse in the situation when it's not. K2 really severed the situation, so you can actually have more dissociation, especially in one of these air sign. If your moon is sitting there as well, you see that severness. Moon and Mars combination, you have in your mind how things are not supposed to be, and so it's very fixed minded and it's very aggressive, and this is how it has to be done, and there's no way, there's nothing better. There's no other option. There's always an option. We need to open those options up. Sometimes it's just selecting different things as well. All right, I want to conclude my videos. If you want to share some of your charts or combination, or I didn't talk about yoga. Maybe I should talk about yoga next time. But share your story and see like, okay, this person was depressed X amount of time. And you have to run that dasha period. But if it's chronic, that means it's like either in the first, fourth, or even sometime the 10th house, right? That could be the trigger of it. Like, why is the depression existed to begin with as well? All right, I want to conclude everybody's thoughts today, and as well, you know, if you are falling into depression, it does get better if you get this right support in. Okay, so you're not alone in this. Everybody may have gone through this sooner or later in their life, but it's part of the process, it's part of the motion, it's how you deal with it. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye now. Glad you enjoyed the contents. Give me a like and share and subscribe. The bell button might be helpful. Did you get a chance to check out my Super Queen membership? Because we go into deep dive of your love life and maybe use some practice and connect with other heart-centered queen as well. Join us. The link is in the description. I got over 300 videos on this channel, and I think I picked the next one is right for you. So see you there.